Here, we do what others don't.
Dream what others won't, driven to leap forward, determined to always give back.
Here, we work where giants have played, where the connection of work and ethic is made.
A diverse community possessed with a passion
To know and grow and go and show the world we are prepared to change it. Here, we ask what must be done, for in doing we learn and earn success.
and you can get there from here.
DePaul University. Here, we do.
We're different here. We don't just get up for another day. We rise. We don't just work. We endeavor. We're women and men, for and with others. We have hope, we believe, and we celebrate. Why are we different?
So we can be the difference.
Here, we do what...
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to EGFC Counter-Strike. We wrapped up our first series. It was 1-1, but Villanova came out on top with that round differential. But now, we've got even a more hotly contested matchup. It's Marquette University versus DePaul University. I'm Los, now joined by the ever-handsome and well-bearded Viking. Welcome aboard, Tyler. How you feeling?
I am absolutely pumped to be back. I just got back from Atlantic City where the MAC championships are going on at the conference level. So it has been wild and got to meet a couple of the MAC players that are out there. So it's been a very long week and I could not be more excited to be hanging out with you to finish it off with some Counter-Strike. And we, like you said, this is a pretty wild map or wild matchup because DePaul and Marquette are two of those top three. The last time they came together, they were separated by only 4 rounds in 1v1. So this is quite the matchup as we are already into the pistol round.
And now we're starting off with a rush over to A. Donut has been controlled over by Marquette, and no one will make a contest out from house. Yet the bomb will go down in a flash here for Marquette, and there's only 3 players left, the Demigod, Chris, and Breezy. What are they able to do here for the retake? Coming from Temple as well.
Yeah, that immediate advantage going to Marquette, although Breezy bringing it back with those USPs. Chris and Breezy hugely dangerous at a distance, especially when they keep finding shots like that. So this constant equalizer, Chris versus Remy. You know, the body was just as interesting as that 1v1. Thank you to the auto cam. I think that the fact that it came down to that 1v1, I mean, Chris has been such an intense player for DePaul coming in more recently. Remy, you know, one of those standout players when they needed to be. And if the rest of the game ends up like that pistol round, this is going to be a very close and very long game of Counter-Strike.
Now we have some rifles on the board, at least one. Here for Mandalore, they're opening it up with 2, actually almost a collat, and they're going for a 3rd around the pillar. They've got it. There's one player in the right side of sight over by the back alley, but what a swing and what a headshot for Mandalore. Maybe they're here to pick it up and go for the ace. I wouldn't be surprised if they want to send it all the way down, and they're going to do just that. Here comes the swing. The shots get in, but they won't be able to finish it off. Miggs steals it away, but it's probably for the best.
You know, that could have been as clean a round as you get, but Miggs just being a little cheeky there and stealing that ace. That's how friendships get broken, Los.
Yeah, you know, I think Marquette has had their fair share of major victories that I think they're willing to spare this one. Wow, a great preemptive smoke to stop the molly, and now the aggression is turned over toward Donut, but Squaw's waiting with the M4. They find 2.
Huge double kill by Squaw there, and this is one of those things that Marquette sometimes has some challenges to deal with. I mean, a Demigod, Chris, and Breezy left on the DePaul side just to clean up Alter. Alter can be dangerous. We've seen him do that, but he's being flanked, and he doesn't... Oh, he realizes it, loses it out to Breezy. You know, DePaul, not one to take any of these potential losses lying down whatsoever, and I'm sure that this is the start of that back and forth that we're expecting between these two teams. It's amazing to see how all these players on both sides can absolutely destroy a round just on their own, and now that we've got guns in the hand of everyone, I am so pumped. I cannot say how excited I am, especially because we're playing on Ancient, which is a map that unless Marquette is playing, we have not really seen it.
That's right. And now to start things off, it's Alter with a good headshot onto Breezy now. There's a bit of a posturing here by Cheetah. And it could be a good move to cave. This is the first time we've seen a play slow down. I mean, finally there are rifles on either side. So it's understandable. They've been running it down before. Now it's time to go a little bit slower.
And Marquette being in that slow default is kind of looking for whatever they are able to get out of it. But DePaul, such a patient team at every single thing that they do. Very patient, very calculated. Almost get that 1v1 kill. Migs going down to just 10 health there, but still, we're just seeing these seconds tick by with no exchange of anything except a couple bullets.
Yeah, it is such a slowed down play. We do have two players still hanging out by a demigod, sending out all the utility they've got. But now it's time for the execute. Marquette have laid down the plans. The smokes are here. However, it's not enough. Mandalore does get a shot onto Saki before they could lose out on the planter, and it will be good to go. Now their setup really going to determine the way this round goes. Prod waiting patiently, expecting someone to come from mid, but that won't be the case. It's going to be a full CT attempt. Actually, it's a save.
It's a smart choice by DePaul. There's a lot of CTs, or sorry, all of the Ts are still left. They're covering pretty much every angle, and they know that there's just not, the calculus is not really in their favor. So it's wise to save those M4s, do whatever they can, especially because as you look at the money from Breezy and Saki, there's just not a lot left for them. So Alter's gonna, blow that last molly, and they're gonna run away. So it's gonna be an easy, I shouldn't say easy round for Marquette because they just lost Alter. That happens sometimes on the post plant. Sometimes you just forget that, the bomb radius is harmful, especially if you've only got 15 health left. This Marquette's looking pretty good so far. I mean, the fact that how they've changed pace, just going back and forth between really hyper aggressive opening 2 rounds, taking the loss to DePaul in that 3rd round before bringing it back, just really, really capable of turning defaults into just these either very slow, methodical grinds to try to really test the patience of DePaul, or just go hard into a particular site and overwhelm. Right now, they're lined up over that A site looking for that execute, so we'll see how the defense on the A site is for the first time so far.
3 smokes in play as well as a flash, but here comes a molly to stop them moving from A main. The flashes are good. Alter has no problem removing a demigod from play and a donut player at Squaw. They back off. They haven't cleared it, so that will be a point of contention as the round goes on. Definitely be dangerous as they do get the bomb down. The smokes soon will dissipate. Saki over by Temple does win out the first shot. That makes it a bit easier for the retake.
Tempo makes for such a deadly alley to just spam through. Squad coming through, getting the kill. This is just on between the CTs and Ts with the slight advantage going to Breezy, taking out 2. Migs has got to try his best to get it out there, but the spray is just not quite there. Chris takes him out. That's a 2nd round for DePaulos.
It almost seemed like like that might have been a bit more dangerous. It was kind of just a fast and loose attempt to stop the defusal there. Only netting 1 kill in the end, but DePaul executed that one pretty technically. Very well done. Just ensuring that Donut was kept under their control, so that's a mistake Marquette will soon not make again.
Yeah, they're using that really effective base setup. Obviously, put 1 player in Donut, play 1 on A, play as passively as you can, just to deal with the fact that, if you have a bunch of people running through A main, you're gonna run into issues when you're overrun. But that was a beautiful retake, and that's been the case for both teams, no matter how they're executing. Mandalore getting that early kill onto Breezy is gonna trigger Marquette to think a little bit harder about that B site. DePaul moving up to defend. They're gonna look for that one in mid, but it looks like Prod Squad to Remy. That could have been disastrous for DePaul, already down 1 player.
They've consistently held that angle when they've gone for the plant, but this time it did not work out, and removing that player alleviates so much pressure from DePaul that they have a bit more freedom to maneuver around, and that will make it even better, as now there's no one on the side of A, so they could just run on over. It's a full-on rotation once the utility is out. They don't have to worry about a lurker. But now they have to worry about the player in the back alley. Chris doesn't win this one out. They still have more players in CT. Taking their time. Plant will be secured behind that pillar.
Those spams through the smokes just do so much damage on this map, especially when you have such clear lines of fire. But like you were saying, these technical elements of it, they're just getting picks everywhere. Mandalore able to take one, gets traded out by Squaw. They're gonna smoke the bomb and try to go for it, but with Alter just sitting there, he knows where it is, but he's not hitting anything, and he's just holding that.
Oh,
That was a huge miscalculation.
That is unfortunate. And Alter goes down, loses the rifle as well. I liked the play there because they dropped the smoke. Squat moved just off to the side. They didn't stand directly on it. So the angle that was being held in the end just provided no value. There were some shots that did make a connection to Squat, but those were strays. Those were in the main firing pattern coming out from Marquette. And now have gone on and tied it up. Another split play coming here from Marquette. You can never really tell where these players are headed off to, but I'm thinking since the bomb is all the way by split, this could be a day hit.
Feels like it, but that means they have to get there first, and the DePaul players are not interested in dropping any of their rifles or any of their players unless they absolutely just get bodied by some of these pistols, which absolutely can happen. We see that all the time, but Chris hearing the reload goes through with the auto shot, he takes Alter's head off. This is not looking like Marquette's going to be able to accomplish a whole lot in this round.
Not seeming to be the case, and it's what we expected. It's a pistol round, expecting just maybe a headshot or two. Just an attempt to take one rifle away from the DePaul is kind of what you would hope for. I mean, of course, a plant, second best case scenario, but this isn't seeming to be any positives. Okay, right when I say that,
yeah,
we got a bit of a positive.
Oh, that auto shotty is just so dangerous. A little bit apprehension there because it also, well, it has the ability to be a cross map sniper rifle. Sometimes point blank range, it just doesn't hit anything. And that was almost the case as we saw the battle between the Deagle and the auto shotty going on. But now it's just Remy trying to take off somebody's head and just not quite finding the opportunity.
Yeah, spotted by stairs. Breezy hold it down exactly how we expected. He might be able to recover the Deagle, but that's just standard issue. I mean, the fact that they did get that one kill, that Remy was able to win one at least, is just a bit of a bonus. It was kind of a GG go next round.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly, where Marquette wanted to be for that. I mean, obviously, like you said, get the plant down is always the better element, but they got through it. They're back onto rifles and stepping up the pressure. As we talked about before, they really like to switch between that really aggressive play and just those alarmingly slow grindy plays. They're already all out on the B site, but Breezy taking down two. They didn't even check there. That is a huge miscommunication as they just gave up two of their players going in, but Prod able to try to the equalizer for Chris, and with two CTs flanking, he may get another two.
Okay, Breezy does have some support now. They can make this play without a problem. Now two coming from behind. It's all up to Mandalore with 4 HP. They just need to play the angles. They just need to stall out time. They have defuse kits, but wait a minute. It might have been possible. Squaw took a lot of damage, but Breezy would have been there for the trade regardless. They got the round, and now DePaul leading by 2.
Watching the first couple of rounds, I think we knew that it was going to be a pretty balanced game. I think I would have given the initial edge to Marquette, just how they were playing it, but DePaul has really settled into where they wanted to be. That was an honorable attempt by Mandalore there, but when you've got two players that are willing to be patient and only a couple HP left, not a whole lot you can do. So now Marquette is back into the same situation they were just recently ago with an extra rifle, but Squad being really aggressive into mid. It's going to take out Remy. The Demigod on the other side of the map takes out Prod, and that's 2 players immediately removed from the Marquette team. And we're only 30 seconds into the first part of this round.
A lot of players out by B. We're near the ramp. They are taking their time. I mean, that's all you can do. You already lost 2 players. So it is just up to Alter and Migs They're holding it down. Mandalore's on the flank, waiting for someone, but no aggression to be seen from DePaul, and they know exactly why. There's no reason to walk into the Deagle or any sort of close range kill potential for Marquette. Got to make them sweat, and you have to make them come to you.
Yeah, this is why DePaul is so effective in these late stage parts of the round, because they know if they get drawn out, if they over rotate, that's where they're going to give up those close angles and really give the opportunity for Marquette to maybe come all the way back into the round, but at least give them an opening to get into a site. So you see, even though they're aware of the fact that obviously there are only 3 members of the T side left, and that they knew that they were pretty low in terms of equipment, still not doing anything. Breezy just peeks out, takes off Mandalore's head, and Marquette has to commit to this if they're going to go for the round. Breezy taking out a second, almost a third. Migs takes out one, and now it's just the lone man left to try to put Marquette on the back. Zaki able to clear that out very quickly. Marquette almost got something of value out of it, but unfortunately just shut down by DePaul's patience there and their collapse. They've been doing very, very well over the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, when you bide your time when it comes to those late game plants, you put an extra layer of pressure on yourself that's so unnecessary. And when the time comes for the execute, you're forced by the clock. You can't take your time, clear the angles you're looking for, and it just becomes all around a bad scenario to be in, especially for Marquette going into DePaul. And now we got tons of utility blocking their assault. This is going to be a play up mid. Squaw will be the first point of contact. They back the hell off because they realize what's coming. And all the way in the back, it will be Saki, though, who's waiting for some aggression from House.
Seems like another one of those rounds we're going to have to wait quite a while before we're really going to see those initial engagements. The smokes, the counter smokes, just great use of utility by both sides to just kind of keep that separation. But Squaw able to just take great advantage of that flash of his teammate out there, takes out Remy, and now they're aware that there are more people in mid looking for some sort of answer. Dacky gets the second. They're just getting absolutely stabbed down here. Marquette finally able to answer, making it a 3v3, but they are bruised and battered going into the last part of this round.
Oh, not the smoke they were looking for. However, it will be 2 ops waiting for this defensive play. The defensive hold. Here comes the first shot. Chris wins it out. Cave is cleared. Now both the players will have to make their way up to B rampant. Well, they've got another thing coming. There's another op waiting on the other side of stairs, but the smoke will block off that sight line. And it gives them a new opportunity to make their move. Chris, though, is being ballsy. They're going for the forward op play, and they get the shot. The plant doesn't go down. There's 18 seconds left, and now with the Deagle, it's a demigod, and they finish the job. 7-3. DePaul is looking real fierce here on Ancient.
It's a little scary if you're Marquette. I mean, this is their map pick. They've felt really confident about it before. When we talked to them last week,
Yep, there it is.
They said, they'd played so much of Ancient over the last week that it just felt like a natural pick. We had heard Migs the week before talk about how they've really wanted to get into their normal rotation with this. And I think that at first it was a novel approach, right? I mean, this is not a league where we've seen Ancient played very much. We see certainly a lot more Mirage, Vertigo, Inferno kind of setups, a lot of Overpass. But I think the novelty of it kind of wore off. I mean, clearly DePaul is aware of the potential of this map. They've practiced really well, and we're seeing just a really great technical play of this map. And that has worked out to be very entertaining, a little bit less so for Marquette, who finds themselves down 4 rounds on the T side. But it's certainly not in the panning zone yet, although the timeout obviously is going to give them an opportunity to just kind of talk about what's happening, because right now they're getting some of that early aggression and finding some effect there, but DePaul is just getting the timings down, I think, a little bit better, able to peek around some of those smokes a little bit more effectively, and just that absolute stonewall patience is becoming, I imagine, pretty frustrating for the Marquette side, who really wants people to be aggressive so they can get some of those early picks and work off of them.
Yeah, there's no frustration on the side of DePaul. And again, we saw that they were running out of time. It was 18 seconds when the execute onto B was put into motion. Oh, shot does go wide for Chris. Wanted some info. They have a few players out by ramp, so they're just backing off, reposition back to stairs, and hold your ground. That's all you can do at this point. Wait for Marquette to make their play and just allow them to walk into your crosshairs. Breezy will be the first point of contact if anyone wants to move up to cave. So, oh, a nice flash will force him back. That might be some ground gain by Marquette.
Just a little bit, but they're still dealing with DePaul on those angles with significantly superior weaponry at the moment. And Demigod catches out Prod just a couple pixels past there, and that's going to lose one member of the Marquette team. Saki, seeing all of these people collapsing into mid, is just poking and prodding at them. And it looks like Marquette's already taking the brunt of that aggression as well. But DePaul still, I mean, I think Marquette's maybe seen 2 members in total because they're just playing as passively as possible, but being very staunch, I guess, defenses of their individual parts of this map.
And the clock runs down one more time here for Marquette. Now we do have players in position. Oh, a great shot from Mandalore. There's an op down. Now we only have Breezy left to defend the site. They might have to back up, but their legs have been spotted. Breezy only gets one before falling themselves, and with 15 seconds left, the bomb will go down on B.
So all they needed was that opening, and now they have a real chance of actually winning this round. They've got an AWP and an M4 and plenty of HP to deal with the potential aggression. Remy missing that shot's not going to help, but he gets the second one onto a Demigod. Now just Squad and Saki left to take down and get the defusal.
Oh no, Saki in for some trouble. They might have taken down Alter, but that's all they could do, and it's so painful when Mandalore and Remy were so low in HP. But once you lost that one sniper and Chris, leaving Breezy all alone with not much to go, nowhere to really run, as there was a potential flank coming from Cave, they just had to throw their life on the line and maybe take one down before they left. And unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. And now Marquette finally has a bit more confidence going into this round. You can see they're playing a bit faster.
That's the risk reward of how DePaul has been playing this, because they're not poking out for information. They've been content just kind of sitting in different positions with the expectation that they can hold whatever angle that they're going for. But as Marquette has tried to counter that, they've just, like you said, they'll let the clock run down. And then it really comes down to whether they get that opening shot. And if they do, with the utility that they still have saved up, they're able to make it really difficult for DePaul to come back into that. So that is something that DePaul obviously needs to be aware of. And Breezy taking damage as he jumps across. This could be another A play, as we see most of the players from the Marquette side, or sorry, B play, as the Marquette side is over in that direction. DePaul seemingly aware of that, kind of testing it out. I don't know, man. This could come down to the wire again.
Might be the case. However, Mandalore with a great play removes Breezy out. And just more and more kills are falling in line for Marquette. We have a lone Chris who's not expecting the flank, but they might have heard the sound cues. Here's the swing for them, but it won't be enough. A Demigod is the last one alive, and they're making their way through mid, but finally the bomb will be planted. Will Marquette expect another flank? Their positioning says no. Their positioning says they expect either a stairs or a CT play, but now we have Remy in position. No! A Demigod wins it, but they only have 48 HP. Migs is looking toward Cave with the op, and they will get the shot in. A Demigod with the smoke or the insend out. They can't win it. Marquette is slowly clawing back their way up to try and meet DePaul at 7 and maybe even take it to 8.
That's something that I really love about watching these two teams playing each other, is they're very good at adapting to the situation and keeping pretty cool heads. I mean, we've certainly seen them break down a little bit at different times, but for the most part, they're really good at looking at the rounds that they're given and saying, okay, this is what's working. In this case, Marquette obviously favoring the B site right now, doing a very good job of exploiting the fact that, again, DePaul is opted for less information, but a stronger defense. But DePaul, I think, has gotten maybe a little complacent on their Bs, because we've seen them kind of caught out in the middle of sight in a couple places. And that's just given Marquette that one opening, that one crack in the wall that's ultimately able to open the floodgates and really just make life so difficult for DePaul. So now DePaul has to figure out, how are they going to fix that? Are they going to cheat a player over to one site? Do they gamble on the fact that, B has been the preferred attack point for Marquette? Or do they just stick with it and hope that the B players can pick up and really make a difference where they've, just struggled for the last couple of rounds?
Well, now we have to deal with a quick pause as one of the players on the side of Marquette has disconnected. So it will take a little bit of time for them to get back into the server, and which it will be a bit of an issue. It's going to mess up the flow that Marquette was feeling because they won 2 rounds in a row, looking for more, on the way to honestly get it. However, being put on ice, holding it down for a quick moment will it may potentially hinder their progression. Now, this is entirely possible. I mean, we've got a swag 7
Of
we
course it
saw
was.
potentially. Chris, wow. Okay. Chris coming out with the Mag 7. Now that can prove to be a fruitful weapon to use. If you're playing close, you could get a lot of good cash from just one of the frags that could come out of that one. So it might be a worthwhile investment.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they're putting that, in like the house position or somewhere over towards that B site, obviously, again, it's been favored a lot. So there's, I think, an opportunity to cast a pretty wide net there and hopefully see some benefit for that. I mean, they could always play at A main or donut or even in, red and mid, but there's just not a lot to go on there. And especially because Marquette just seems to have completely ignored that for the last 3 rounds. I don't know. Maybe they're going to stack the one side. I mean, like you said, the Swag 7 was purchased, but that is the heaviest weapon among DePaul's total loadout right now. So we're not going to see, I would expect anyways, their normal setup. And I'm kind of curious to whether they do something interesting or creative with this or not.
Well, it seems that one of the players has to restart their PC to get back into this matchup. So we may jump to a quick break. And once we get back in, there'll be more action between DePaul and Marquette right after this quick break. All right, back in action. Alter has returned to the game, and now we can return to see if Marquette will be able to continue that streak. And it's might be foreboding a good omen if a demigod is gonna eat that HE. Alter running it up, might be able to get the quick flick, and they get both of the players down in A main. It's all up to Saki, the last player by Donut. Ooh, starting things off with a nice 1D, but they have a lot of more work cut out for them, as Biggs will whittle it down to just Breezy in a 1v.
Gotta love it when you just have random players run out on this site and try to do something interesting. Unfortunately, not long for this world, but DePaul, after a brief eco with a bunch of deagles, getting like a nice shot off of Saki, but not a whole lot that's going to do much to the Marquette side. Marquette's now within 1 of tying this back up.
Instant out toward split, but no one will be there to meet it. It's an aggressive play here from DePaul. It isn't paying off, but it is at least giving them some information. Here comes Chris, able to shoot down one. Might be able to be good for a second, but Mandalore wins it out. Now, 2 players have already lost their lives here for DePaul. Only one will be defending on B. It's just up to Saki, and that over-aggression will be punished by Marquette. Things have become much easier as this round has progressed.
This is what we were talking about in that gamble around the switch up for the side of DePaul, knowing that Marquette was finding their footing and able to break down some of their defenses, especially just, picking a lot, particularly on the B site. DePaul getting a little bit more aggressive and basically gave Marquette 2 free kills by walking through smoke, by being caught off, or just, completely out of sight. And now, because they lost track of Prod was all the way back in CT spawn and able to get that kill. So now it's just Saki left with 4 terrorists on the side, and it doesn't look like he wants anything to do with that. So he's going to try to hold on to that M4. But knowing Marquette, they probably aren't going to be in the mood to let him try to save.
Yeah, rightfully so. Saki has very little chances of walking out of this round with a clutch. So it makes more sense. Hold on to the rifle. And this will be a painful lesson for DePaul, as you got to watch your back. You cannot run face first into a Marquette offense because they are waiting for you. How many rounds have we seen where Marquette was sitting in the back line, sitting back in their spawn, expecting a push, hoping for something like this to happen? And DePaul played right into their hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Marquette does a really great job of kind of baiting people into where they want them to go. And these are 2 teams that talk a lot of smack to each other, and rightly so. I mean, they're certainly have earned that respective right to one another. And with these, trading blows back and forth, they're trading a couple words as well. And they're kind of baiting each other. They're playing off of the emotions of the moment. And DePaul, you can see them being a little bit less patient than they were, and some of that was a strategic choice, but obviously that hasn't worked out. So now they're back to a position where they've got to try to just deal with Marquette confidence.
Oh yeah, Marquette is feeling themselves today. Now that they're on the upswing, 3 players go down within an instant. Squad a demigod, the last one's over by house, hopefully waiting for an opportunity to present itself, but none shall do that. Maybe one player wants to peek through the smoke, being Squaw, sends out an HE. Nothing really found there. Potential boost might give them some insight. They do actually remove Alter from the play, but nothing more is granted, and a great shot through the smoke into Squaw's dome. All but seals the deal here. Marquette will take the lead, finishing off the first half.
That is 5 rounds in a row that Marquette that weren't completely unanswered by DePaul. So Marquette finding absolutely everything going in their favor for those last couple of rounds, and after being down 7-3 in round 10, they're now back to the lead. This is something that DePaul really has to take a moment to breathe and really prepare for this T side, because they really have everything to lose here.
It will be interesting to see how they make their approach. A lot of players headed toward mid, and it might be a full rush at that. 2 players waiting in Donut. It's Remy, the first one to make a play, and they get the shots in. However, finally, they will clear it out And now a full-on rotation going toward A. We have Prod behind the crates. They get one before they can get the bomb down, and that'll stop it. That slows it down. 2 players left for the retake. One coming through from CT, and one slowly walking it down on mid. Checking all the angles, looking for a flanker, none to be found. And the donut position will be the move to make for Mandalore. However, this is a very dangerous time. Might be able to at least get some kills. They have a kit over for Mandalore. It all needs to start now. They have to make their move. No, Migs is the first one to fall. It's a 1v3 here for Mandalore, and they can't get it done.
That ends with a beautiful 2-tap from Breezy to take out the remaining 2 players on the Marquette side, and that is exactly what DePaul needed to get back into this. I mean, we're tied up 8-8 going into round 17, and there's absolutely no telling how the next couple of rounds are going to go, because we've seen it doesn't matter. I mean, they just flip back and forth, and it's any given player on any given team can just go completely off and change everything up in an instant. Like that, of course.
Oh my god. That is just a pain to deal with. I don't even know how you could recover mentally from that one.
Yeah.
The double Nova. Or the... Come on. What can you do? What can you do? I mean, at least you didn't get hit with the swag 7 out from Prod, because that would be even more disrespectful. Maybe we got some Deagle action. Deagle Demons on the board here for Marquette. And they come right back and win it out.
Deagle Demons, indeed. And they're going to pick up an AK for their trouble, plus a bunch of cash. That, I don't think that could have gone better for Marquette. I mean, you open up with 2 Novas, like you said, and that just... that makes such a huge difference mentally in the confidence of both sides. You know, obviously 1 up, 1 down, and able to just play that house position so well, come back into it. And despite the fact that the bomb got planted, it didn't matter. They're not interested in letting go of their lead. So they're back up by 1. And now DePaul is a little bit on the back foot, where they're, you know, forced to just take a couple upgraded pistols into round 18.
Yeah, they're running it up again over to A main. We have Breezy, who's considering going to mid, but that flame will make him think twice. They forgot the bomb.
It happens.
Little unfortunate. It
Going
happens.
on a little trip.
I mean, it's not like any ground was gained on the side of DePaul. They haven't broke through the defensive. They haven't even made on site, but they might catch Migs getting a bit confident as they're forced back away. Miguelito doesn't find success here. They get some info that the bomb isn't in play yet. The options are still very much open here for DePaul, and that will be exercised. They'll head over to B. Migs, the only one standing guard by Cheetah, might sense that something is afoot. Might sense that there's trouble brewing. You can see the rotations on the mini-map. It's time for a brawl. But with DePaul taking their time, walking it off, they'll be met with utility, and they can't make their way up.
You can see Marquette's already suspected that they must be over there, because you've seen that the mid and the A players push all the way through. Alter pushing up and catches off a Demigod. Mix takes out Squaw. These players are just dropping like flies, while Chris tries desperately to bring something back and takes off Mandalore with a P250. And while they have a Galil, that's probably not going to be enough to take out the 4 heavily armed members of the Marquette squad. Yeah,
they're just setting in Chris for a fight.
See what happens.
At this point, just throw it. Send it. Send it, Seki. Time to play your life or lose out on tons of money. That will be it. They get the loss bonus. All of them die. It was necessary with such little time left. You have to put your body on the line.
I like the way that round played out. I mean, it was lots of uncertainty. And at that point in the map, especially when people push past those normal lines and you've got, you know, people in each other's spawns and they're all, you know, in different places, that can create some really interesting moments, especially when you're playing with P250s. But now both teams back at relatively full strength, although notably the DePaul utility is bad. Just the 2 smokes, 2 flashes, and a molly to get them onto site. And the way things are going, Marquette has opted to be much more aggressive than we saw DePaul being, and so far it's worked out really well. Alter with the sick flick takes out Saki, trying to get some information in mid. So DePaul, despite their efforts to get back into this fight, are already down 1 player. They still got some time left in the round, obviously, plenty of time to see what happens, but Marquette is just trying to bully them into doing what they want them to do.
Nice spray through the smoke by Migs to make things just a little bit more difficult there for DePaul. Might have a response, though, but you will find no real response as Marquette, even with the Mac Tizzle, can get the job done. And a disrespectful body shot at the end just to say, hey, I beat you with the Mac 10. Feel bad.
That kind of lineup is my nightmare every time I play any Counter-Strike game and you're trying to walk around a corner with your teammate and you can just feel like you're that perfect shot lineup for any weapon around the corner, and that's just what happened there. So a lot of money from those mat kills. And DePaul, again, finds themselves back down. They're just in this constant cycle of buy up, try something, and then end up with these pistols. And Marquette is just 100% ready for it. Getting the molly altar with Breezy. This is just them turning the A site into a shooting gallery, and DePaul is 100% committed to this, so they're just going to keep trying and just feeding kills into Prod, Remy, and Alter. Everybody getting a little bit of love there, and that is a quick end to the round of DePaul. And it seems like, based on those post-round antics, that there's just a little bit something going on between the teams there.
Yeah, that was a perfect round for Marquette. You know, we've heard flawless, were no deaths, but that was a perfect, not a single point of damage taken by any of the Marquette players, and they just cleaned things up. DePaul needs to come up with a new strategy fast. Migs is playing it very close over by Cheetah, and they want some blood, but if they are willing to play, here's a flash, time to start things off. Migs somehow wins it out. A demigod trades it, but even in the conditions, there's no way that Migs should have even gotten one kill.
No, that was a very odd moment in play. Just somebody, I guess, not remembering that the really unequal terrain of these kind of puts the crosshair placement a little bit off. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just making stuff up and trying to defend what could have possibly happened there. But we find ourselves in the classic situation where, you know, halfway through the round, a little bit of damage and lives traded on both sides, but no real ground has changed hands. So DePaul is still in this position where they've got to try to make something happen because they're getting to the point where they're running out of rounds to play with, and they can't afford to keep losing these rounds because they just don't have enough to save through. A demigod with that wild spray takes out Remy, so that's a good start.
I think they had to have. They had to have gotten that kill with just the spray that was going through. There's no way that Remy would have been able to walk out of that one alive. And Alter with 1 through fire and flames. They found 2 kills. The last players hanging out by Donut. It isn't in the perfect position for them. I think if they just use some of their utility, I mean, they've got quite a bit of it. Here comes the HE. It doesn't find any damage. And I think with the lack of movement that came out from the utilization of that nade, they may back up, but now the information's there. They know exactly where they're coming from. Alter finds one, but Saki is good for the trade. And honestly, that could have definitely gone the way of Marquette.
Absolutely. But for DePaul's benefit, it didn't. So that's going to give them a little bit more. But they are kind of in this position where you can look at the cash and, you know, some of them are forced to buy Galils because they're in that kind of purgatory space where they have enough money to buy things, but not certainly what they want to buy. While on the other hand, Marquette is just buying whatever they feel like because they can. And that's putting them, again, just in that really, really dangerous zone because there's only 4 rounds left before Marquette can claim victory, and DePaul trying everything they can to burn those rounds off. But that means an expensive investment and even a huge outsized impact every time they lose.
Up down range. Got Alter ready through mid. No one there to meet them, though. It's an interesting setup that we're finding here for Marquette. But it's doable. Viking.
Yeah. Every time I look at that mini map, everything looks like a little bit different, and you see both of them stacked up towards that A site, either from the mid or from that house area. So it's like, what's gonna happen? And it might be just them running into the line of fire for Marquette, but DePaul mollied off a little bit there. Still gonna make their way on the site. Mandalore able to take down the first one, but blind. still survives. I don't know how he managed to stay alive through that. Saki getting one, Remy taking out the second. So Marquette up 4-2 right now. They're going to try to spam through. The members of the DePaul team just continuing to fall. And once again, it's just Saki against the world to try to make something out of that. But there are only 20 seconds on the clock. And DePaul, it's not looking good for them.
It was an interesting setup, and it paid off perfectly. I mean, they did lose out on 2 players, but that is a great case scenario because now you're almost guaranteed to get this 14th round. With very little money in the hands, it's going to be just one smoke to the name of DePaul right now, and that is not a good way to start off.
But I will always say that anything is possible, especially if you miss your op shot there. And we're going to see the aggression from Marquette.
Oh my.
Oh, it's paying off for DePaul, or sorry, Marquette. I just keep seeing all these kill feeds go up, and I'm expecting something that's not there. But Marquette just cleans up super quickly and puts that 14th round on the board. DePaul is starting to feel dire for them, and I think this is largely, I mean, certainly there's been a lot of things going Marquette's way just based on timing and the reward that they're getting for the aggression that they're putting into it. But I also feel like this might be finally Marquette's comfort level on this map starting to shine through just a little bit more than DePaul.
Now, a bit of hesitation to head toward B, rightfully so. I mean, you got that Molly potent off that one angle as well as the smoke to just deny any information. And that's a great way that Marquette has been able to control this map in general, is that they've always denied DePaul any information of what their next move is, especially what they did when they played it back even in the T side. They didn't give any indication of where they were headed. You would have no indication that Migs would be in this corner. They swap up their setup almost every round, so it keeps DePaul wondering, what the hell are we running into?
It's got to be infuriating. And I mean, like what we were just talking about, right? You look at the mini map at the start of the round, and they're always in different positions. They're always playing from different angles. And that's one of the big kind of interesting things about this map. There are so many angles to check. There are so many different ways to play it, and that's shining through in how Marquette's choosing to execute. Although Breezy getting that opening kill on Prod is going to open up the A site for the first time, and Alter able to find somebody through the flames. That's Chris going down for the side of DePaul. So they have the bomb down, and they are between this and death, really. So Migs getting that kill is a huge thing, and now with both players left, ooh, this is tough.
Breezy on the other side of the box, and now it's all up to a demigod to stop match point from being secured, but that will not be the case. Marquette get it done in a great retake. Now there's seemingly not enough money to get exactly what they need. I mean, you know, the loss bonus, it isn't too bad here for Marquette or DePaul, but they'll
have a chance.
They have a chance. They have a chance.
Certainly the momentum all in favor of Marquette here, and they have done an excellent job with it. Even when DePaul has their best round in what felt like quite a while, it didn't matter in the end. They were able to keep them together, and DePaul just doesn't seem to have an answer for Marquette playing this. And that will trade 1-to-1 Mandalore for a demigod. Maybe. I mean, they're there. They're in it. They got the bomb down. This is the fastest that's happened so far this half. So they're in a pretty good position, but you see the Marquette flank already coming in, and they're able to do that so quickly just because of how aggressive they've played. Chris gets Remy. Chris gets Prod.
There's a flash. Helps Squaw, but it doesn't mean much. Now the last two players are playing it back. One by stairs, and it starts off with Migs and Alter running into the crossfire, and there's nothing they can do. DePaul keeps themselves alive for one more round. They have a uphill climb for sure. 5 just to secure OT.
Not dead yet, baby. This is scary. I mean, their back's against the wall right now. Obviously, only one round before they lose this map and have to really dedicate themselves to winning the next to potentially take this out. But, you know, as Dan put it the last time, or the last map, every round counts here as we're going into this best of 2 format. So Paul going out to it completely ignores Mandalore in that closet space. Able to take it again. Chris on that off is making the best use of what they picked up from the DePaul, or from the Marquette side previously. Suddenly this is looking so different. It's like the last 7 rounds didn't even happen. And Marquette suddenly not able to answer the aggression of the DePaul side. Do you think DePaul's finally found the way to come back through that? The magic steps, if you will.
Maybe so, and yeah, another save. And rightfully so. DePaul's waking up at this point, figuring out what they need to do, and just sending it. Sometimes you gotta do
Just
that.
send it.
You just
There you
gotta
go.
send it, and it's working out. They're playing fast, but it's kept tight. It's not fast and loose because they would be losing a lot more players. Oh, leg spotted. They won't commit to get the kill, and maybe yes, Saki does finish them off. And now the money is in the pits, Viking. They can't buy much. I mean, Migs does have that trust fund they've been working on, but there isn't much beyond that, and it's gonna force a timeout from Marquette.
That's this kid's college money. You can't be spending that to just win a silly Counter-Strike match. They do have rounds to work with, though, right? So Marquette, while certainly not in the ideal position, doesn't have to worry too much about it yet. Obviously, they're guaranteed overtime no matter what, but of course, you always want to play with that winning mentality. So they're going to try to close it out. But the fact of the matter is, they could wait to close it out to get a little bit better bank, but it seems that they're opting to just roll the dice and see if they can pull that out. They do have the loss bonus, which is now equal to the DePaul side. So there is a little bit of a benefit to the gamble there, but most of them now under $1,000. That can be, I guess it's a hedge bet, right? They can't lose technically right now. So if they can close it out now, it means that they've got less rounds on the side of DePaul, a better opportunity for them to win the overall game going into the next map. But DePaul, full strength at this point, and the way that they have played in the last 2 rounds, suddenly waking up as death becomes imminent, this could become kind of annoying for Marquette if nothing else.
On set up toward A Squaw. The lone pusher, a ballsy play, decides, I've got this. But there's no one to meet that challenge, so they just secured some spacing for now. Nothing too serious, and no information really on the side of Marquette to play off of. There was a bit of utility. Might give off some sound cues, but beyond that, we do have Migs over in Cheetah having that forward position. And maybe if they continue to take their time, it might be enough for them to realize that the play isn't headed toward B. So now, with this flash altar, going to swing out, finds nothing. The lack of momentum, the lack of movement is enough. The lack of information even is information. But now we have the setup. Here comes some smokes. It's time for the execute to take place. Prod in the perfect position. There's a gap in the smoke. They can get some shots in, only enough to hurt Breezy a tiny bit on the other side of this box. Looking to sneak through, but will they find any success? They're just waiting. Where are they going? They might find it. No, they do. Prod gets one before going down, and Breezy finds two. And now it's a 2v3. And this is not spelling a nice story here for DePaul. 25 seconds on the clock. Both these players are hiding toward Donut. They find one. They may not be expecting a second to be there for the trade out. And there's one, but they missed a shot, and Migs gets it done to win map 1 for Marquette University, 16-11.
Wow. That was as exciting of a map, I think, as we were hoping and expecting, frankly, between these two powerhouse teams. And that has been I didn't know where to expect it to go. I mean, we saw huge swings of momentum back and forth between both teams. We saw, I think, in the end, we'll won it out for Marquette just being a higher comfort level with the map. I think we could see, the way that they were playing certain angles, the way that they were taking advantage of all the height differences and the weird places that those are possible on this map. Just making the best possible use of those. And ultimately, that was what spelled demise for DePaul quite a few times. But that being said, DePaul stayed in it. They're still DePaul. So this is a pretty close matchup. And I'm pretty excited to see what happens when we move into Inferno.
Yeah, good way to start off this series. And there's definitely a bit of unpredictability from the side of Marquette that kept them from being read by DePaul. It did hurt them a bit on the T side because they just took way too much time. But once they got comfortable, CT became a breeze and they walked out with the first map. But we're going to head over to Inferno after a quick break, so don't go anywhere. Marquette versus DePaul continues right after this. Yo, what's up? Welcome back to EGFC CSGO. It's Marquette, DePaul. Marquette coming out on top over an Ancient, so we still got a heater of a series. Of course, this is all powered by Intel. We got to thank them because they're powering up one of the strongest series tonight. This is an exciting one, Viking. How are you feeling so far?
Really excited. I mean, I think that we talked about how the map Ancient has been Marquette's kind of like it's not a troll, it's a pocket pick, really, right? They're really comfortable with it. They really like playing in it, and it creates a lot of opportunities for them to uh, just kind of keep teams off of their game. DePaul kind of gave us their first look at what a competitive version of this map looks like in this league, which was amazing. But I think in the end, like we talked about, that ultimately went out. However, we're coming back to our old faithful Inferno, and this was DePaul's pick. So we saw in the last time that these two teams came together, as we mentioned before, they traded one map apiece and were separated by literally only 4 rounds. They're 5 rounds right now separated, so already closing some of that up. But man, this is quite something. And DePaul is going heavy for that aggression right up mid into a completely open arches sector. Although Mandalore catches him out, they're going to wrap through. Good choice. Chris takes out Alter. They're going straight for that A site. There's one more player from the DePaul side sneaking through the apartments to try to get that flank, but DePaul comes in with relatively low defense. Gets that bomb down, and now they're here to just keep the first round.
Yeah, good post-plant setup. Not a single player lost their lives on the run-up, and now we have a response here. Breezy continuing that defense, and another one follows up. Maybe they can even get a third. You can see that they are kill-hungry. They moved into position to try and finish that one out. It's all up to Remy, and Breezy will, in fact, get the 4K. The full house, along with Chris, they've got it done pretty quickly. It was a full-on rush. Maybe they could bring it back, get some AKs on the board, and do it again.
Taking a little bit out of Marquette's book there, just being super aggressive on that first round, not giving any quarter and just going straight for the throat. And it works out really well. So the hard part is whether they're able to maintain that. You see a lot of grenades on the side of Marquette, which you should expect to see a lot there. But DePaul, expecting something like that, goes down to alt mid. So all those grenades, for all the investment that was made, not a single point of damage done to the side of DePaul. I'm lying to you. There was one taking off of Breezy from that A ramp, but otherwise, DePaul unscathed, comes out, takes out Remy, takes out Alter on the site, and now that's a completely open A site and not a lot of options for defense by Marquette in the attempt for the retake.
Smokes off, blocking off library. Now we do have Just Rich with the Deagle. Maybe making some moves over by top of mid, but that won't be the case. Chris and a demigod, of course, the issue, and wow, they're really happy about that one, aren't they, Viking?
They are. It's an excellent follow-up round for DePaul. Super clean, making sure that they are not giving up any unnecessary kills or any openings for Marquette, because we've seen, of course, how dangerous they are when you give them just an inch. They'll take a mile for it. So DePaul able to take up their first 2 rounds. And because of that investment into the grenades, Marquette is opting to save for a 3rd round. So we should expect more of the same here for DePaul. You can see that DePaul not expecting a whole lot of aggression because of the 2 MAC-10s that we see there.
Load down play. God. Mandalore with the dig ready for that aggression that we're going to find over by Banana, but that won't be the case. It's a slower play. DePaul is currently just weighing their options. They could make Marquette sweat, because once this execute finally hits, they're having so much more firepower, so much more to work with in terms of those long-range capabilities, and Marquette is going to be very hard-pressed. Well, I mean, as I say that, a nice little dink on the squad makes them think twice. They got 19 HP left. They will have to back off a bit. Oh, Chris starts it off with a nice headshot onto Miggs, and that will be the signal. It's time. It's go time. The smoke's cut off Arches. Saki, though, will get one. It will cost them a demigod, but they have that movement to continue. One player no longer on the site. It's all by libraries. They can get this site. Bomb planted. They have to get their setup now, quickly, before the retake commences.
A little bit closer of around the time constraint, obviously playing a factor there, and just some really nice work by the P250s. But it looks like the result might end up being the same unless Alter can sneak around and find this kill, and he does. Takes out Saki. This could be the start of something. Not a lot, but Chris with that. Oh my god, that flank. Mandalore gets out 1. Suddenly this is a 2v1 and not an impossible one.
Mandalore just doesn't have enough time. There's no kit. They're going to back off. They have a rifle in hand, so honestly, it could be worse. They do make it out, removing a good amount of guns from the side of DePaul, but they got plenty of cash to rebuy in the next round.
Yeah, smart choice. They got the AK from it. That's, I mean, it's certainly not as good as a round win, but it's something, as always. Marquette kind of understanding that they didn't have a lot of options, although they did make it a lot closer than they should have. But DePaul, going into this next round, got rid of the MAC-10s. They're all back to those rifles BD, and they're looking for their 4th. But Marquette, with their own full buy now, including that off on to Alter, could be very dangerous as he moves up into that top banana position, but takes a little bit of damage, almost half, and just gets chased down to Squaw after Alter goes for that 360 flick, or the 180 flick. Takes out Breezy, and now DePaul just originally pouring onto that, just not checking their corners. Mandalore able to get another, Just Rich taking out a 2nd. This is not a very clean push onto this site. They are ultimately able to get it, so that bomb should go down, but with 2 players from the Marquette side ready to pressure, this is anyone's guess as to how this is going to play off, except for the fact that Chris just catches Remy through that smoke, and now it's just Miggs to try to bring this back for Marquette.
Miggs is coming out by sandbags. We have an opportunity. I mean, Chris isn't expecting that a player will be making their way. Wait a minute. Here's a flash. Time for a peek. They don't see that Miggs is by grill. Here comes the instant to force him out a new box, and that will be enough. A demigod is the last one in. They have a kit. They can get the defusal. They're checking by construction, but no one is there to wait them. We have the defusal. It's a fake out, but a demigod is still quick on the draw. A headshot for DePaul, and they're making it 4-0.
It's got to feel really good for DePaul right now. They are in a commanding lead and not giving that up in the rounds that are close when Marquette gets those weapons back. So that 4-0 is going to give them probably a 5-0 now, just looking at the economic situation and the choice to go just for those deagles on the side of Marquette. And DePaul has been really good about not giving up, you know, free kills to anybody. And there's another great example, Breezy able to win that duel down with Mandalore not giving up anything unnecessarily. So they're going to start this round in a pretty comfortable position. And while they don't have, you know, a ton of map control, I feel like they do have command of the map.
Saki sends out the molly to burn out patio, but no one there to greet it. And they realize there is Migs on the other side. A bit of shots earlier. Here comes the peak. Migs doesn't make a second one count. They will have to back off. Surrendering that position might have been the best idea because it gave them confidence to throw the utility, and now Migs walking out with one, maybe even a second, but Saki puts that to rest. Now they only have Remy up in apartments. They're backing off, and they're playing a bit later as they hope to have even more impact once the bomb is put in motion. However, I don't think they're committing to this. They're backing off. Now Remy's position will be meaningless. Oh, unless Saki lags behind, and it gives them a nice 1D. It's a 3v3 now.
And that's a rifle that DePaul is going to be able to, or sorry, Marquette is going to be able to pick up and potentially do something with. The call goes over to the teammate that there's another AK, but they don't care. They're already going to try to cut off the DePaul advancement. And DePaul, by choosing to back off to that, means that they've got to completely reset. They're really gambling that there's nothing really on this site in terms of defenses. They are going to make it on this site. They are going to take out Just Rich, so they know the site is clear, but there's already a member of the DePaul team through that smoke. Now they're going to get that rotation from Remy, who came in from Banana with the AK, but Breezy with a quick flick removes that threat from existence. And now it's just Alter trying to get something, anything. They must know that Chris and Breezy are incredibly low, but with a demigod playing from that conservative position, it's safe to say that this is going to be another in favor of DePaul.
As expected, they are just too strong on the offense. DePaul really coming into their own at this point, but now there's more money on the side of Marquette. They can have a much more effective buy coming through, except for Migs. A little low on cash, though. So we will have an op on hand. It's going to be interesting to see how Alter is able to work to control mid. They haven't had a very oppressive position over toward mid, so it's always been that execute. It's been free almost every time that they've postured themselves toward A. Now with more resistance, now with a better chance, or at least so we thought, apartments will be taken. Now we do have that crosshair coming from Alter as well as Migs. Flame sends him back in amps. Migs realizing this is a possibility and backs off to pit.
A little confusing to see Remy in the position he was, just obviously looking the wrong way, hearing obviously the footsteps going into that balcony area, trying to give him the opportunity to look there, but leaves him completely exposed and goes down very quickly. But on the other side of the map, Breezy had taken a crazy amount of nade damage from Marquette, just nading down Banana, which is the first time that those nades have really connected. So they are down one person, but they have done quite a bit of chip damage off of the players that are there. And Marquette still doesn't quite know where everybody's coming from. You can see a lot of utility going on to B, which signals it's probably going to be the commit. And with only one player from the Marquette side there, this could be a pretty easy take, but a dangerous retake for the side of Marquette as they come in and Alter with that op. Oof. The triple spray down from Mandalore. Oh, man.
Maybe even some more. Mandalore gets a fourth one, denied the ace. Regardless, Marquette are finally able to get themselves on the board. It's 1-5 now. How can they continue to find more success as the rounds go on? I mean, a bit of a scattered money situation that we're seeing on the side of DePaul. But, you know, nothing too crazy. They should be able to bounce back from this one, at least in terms of weaponry. Now, we do have Alter back on the op. Watch out down mid because you might have a fight unless Breezy is too good with the AK. They win it out. Up, down.
That is a huge loss in both the player that is Alter as well as the op. Obviously, a lot of value gone in that. And Migs not looking to make Remy's mistakes is going to see that second one there. Remy there with the backup takes out Chris. So that's 2 players down from DePaul already. And all they had to do was trade an op from Marquette. And they're going to see Breezy try to go for that. And now they just know that this site's open because there's no one left to do anything. And Migs, was he blind?
He must have been.
He just ran right into those flames. And when you've already taken an op to the leg, that's not so good. It's not so good at all. And DePaul looking like they're back in the command of the situation here.
What a turn of the tables, Viking. Now, there will be 2 players coming up from brackets, so should be interesting. Lone Just Rich out from library, but they're just checking all around, making sure there's no flank capable. Breezy looking toward library, might find someone coming through the smoke, but a smoke will block off their vision, but they still are good for one. Saki also keeping the defense up on the other side of the box from A. They will find the third, and that's it. DePaul is back in action.
Excellent post-plant defense, doing an excellent job in general of keeping their momentum there after just a minor hiccup, I guess, from the side of Marquette, able to break through that aggression that we're seeing from DePaul. I was really worried that Marquette was kind of finding their way to hit that timing a little bit better, with DePaul being more aggressive generally than they've been. And obviously on this map, there are so many opportunities to just get destroyed by grenades and by mollies. But in this case, it's Migs running down alt mid that's going to do just absolutely incensed chaos. And in literally 1 second, you see 5 whole players just completely removed from the map. And DePaul's, whatever their plan of attack was, has been completely upended, as they only have Breezy with an AWP and a demigod left to try to do something. But on the other hand, Mandalore only has a swag 7 coming into that B site, and with Alter and Just Rich on M4s with not a lot of utility, there is certainly an opportunity for DePaul to make the best out of a bad situation.
And they got plenty of time, a minute 5 left to just make their choice. Head over back to B. As soon as they see that Mandalore is in that position, which I'm sure they would be getting ready to check that corner because it's been so long before they made a real play over to B. If they get that first pick, I think this round will be all but sealed in favor of DePaul. We do have a quick rotation possible out of Just Rich, but it all comes down to this first engagement over by B. Oh, they look up. No, but they get the shot in. A demigod is worse for wear, but they still make it out on top. Here comes the rotation, but the smoke stops Just Rich from having any impact in the long angle crossfire.
Oh, this has so much potential to be over so quickly, as you see that both Marquette players rotating through CT. The bait and switch. Breezy takes off Just Rich's head, but gives it up. And Alter with the double kill. Just a couple bullets needed, and it takes out both a demigod and Breezy. And I did not expect it to go that way, but that's Counter-Strike for you.
Wow.
Could be the start of something, or it could just be like the first round that Marquette got and just a minor speed bump on DePaul's path to victory. So far, it's been difficult for Marquette to really consistently put performances together, and obviously DePaul has made pretty good use of that. There has been a lot of even fighting on that, with DePaul coming out in the end on all but 2 of those, as you can see by the scoreboard. But now DePaul with a MAC-10 and 2 Galils, they are going to be at a little bit I would have said a little bit of a disadvantage, but the same case for Marquette on the other side with 2 MP9s down. This is one of those rounds where you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they're going to be just MAT 10 versus MP9, and that's fun, but it is a lot slower than we've seen. And that gives DePaul an opportunity to poke and prod and get more information. But Marquette being significantly more aggressive on that banana is going to give them tons of information, a lot more map control. It's going to force them into that funnel. And you can already see the players from the A site starting to speak up into mid and try to get those picks. And Remy, long distance MP9 takedown on Squaw means that they know exactly where DePaul is, and the noose is tightening for that team.
You know, they have to back up, but guess who's waiting for them over by Banana? It's Just Rich. I don't think they're expecting that corner to be taken. Oh, wait, no! Saki takes a look, put up on top of the half wall. Mandalore's waiting. It's an overall trade. They can get it done, but it's still a 2v3. The fast rotation is out. We have Alter going through construction, ready to meet them by the coffins, but you need the backup. You need Chris to have that angle covered. And they actually walk away scot-free. They get into the back, but maybe they just don't know that Alter's in that position. So it gets a lot more dangerous. The lack of information here. They're playing for a crossfire. It's a slow one. We have some utility out here for the rest of Marquette, but now it's all expunged. Here's the last HE. Here to go into the dark, but no one's there. It's just Breezy waiting for it. No, they can't get it done. Marquette are slowly but surely making their way back into this game.
Remy was 100% the key to victory in that round initially with that flank, or I guess you could say that unexpected aggression through Apps getting that first long range pick. And that MP9 can be so dangerous when you put it in the right hands, especially because you can jump around and do all sorts of crazy things. And that round was enough to trigger a timeout from DePaul. So they're going to talk a little bit about what's going on. As you see, the money is mostly depleted on their side, and they're going to have to start thinking about how they continue to extract whatever value they can out of the remaining rounds of this half. But already for the T side, they're doing pretty well. And, if they get even 2 more rounds out of the next 5, they're going to go into the CT side feeling very comfortable about their position. And certainly, I think the fact that this is their map choice, shows a little bit more of the comfort there. And in contrast, Marquette has done pretty well on this map in the past, but you see that they do significantly better when they're able to be hyper aggressive on the CT side and kind of bully people into that ramp area. DePaul so far has done a really good job of keeping out of that trap. Certainly taking a lot of alt mid control, a lot of information coming in both of those sides. So I'm really excited to see how the last 5 rounds of this half play out, because there are just so many opportunities, or 6 rounds, excuse me, for this to continue building.
And now they're off. A Tech 9, a few Deagles, and I believe a P250 or 2. So we head over. A lot of these players, as you said, they're going toward alt mid. And it is patio control that they're looking for. The boost as well might be a bit difficult. They're walking right into the flames, as well as Biggs should be able to fire upon them. They only pepper in a lot of bullets, but no kills are actually secured. And they run through the arch, waiting for the tunnel. And actually, Alter out from Library might be able to make things a bit more chaotic, but a 1D here from Saki gives them a bit more hope. The lone defender, Mandalore, over on B site. This is the last piece of opposition before they could get on to a bomb plant. Moving through construction. I don't think he's expecting it. Maybe he was, but the second he peeked, Chris took off his head, and now they've suddenly turned a save into a post-plant setup.
DePaul is absolutely finding gold in every single moment that they possibly can here, and that unexpected aggression pays off in spades. So now they've got a pretty good defense setup here, but it is Miggs and Remy who've done incredible work across the 2 maps that they've played in, well, the map and a half they played. Remy getting Chris, and the second coming out without a rifle to do much with. Saki is going to go down to Miggs. So DePaul making the most out of that situation. They do get a bomb down. They do get 3 kills. Marquette is going to get 2 AKs and a round win in return and make that an op. This has got to feel pretty good for Marquette, in the fact that it's a victory, a little bit shakier on the fact that they didn't really have a lot to work with on the side of DePaul that got them that close.
I mean, now that we have a better buy coming through, I think this just spells a greater opportunity for DePaul to make headway. If they are able to convert this into a winning round, there won't be any loss bonus coming out for Marquette. They'll be in a much worse position to try and come back. Might even result in a double save. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. We got to focus on Chris. Yup, on to Banana. Who will take the bait? Who wants to peek first? We've seen them get a bit aggressive in the past. That won't be the case. They love to hold it back by patio, by arches, and just let DePaul come to them.
Who doesn't love to hang out on the patio? It's a safe space. It's really lovely, especially this time of year. When it's just cold enough that I'm just kidding, it sucks. But they are doing a great job holding it, like you said. Generally speaking, they are playing significantly more conservatively than we've seen them playing in different instances of this map, and even what we saw earlier on in this game. So this is a little bit of that Marquette adaptation coming out. They have picked up their 4th round, but they still have quite a ways to go before they can declare a victory here. Miggs getting a great start using the best, their AK from the previous round to the best use possible. Going to take out a demigod. And so Marquette, not in a bad position. DePaul doesn't seem to have any real information about what's going on, but they are just deciding to send it, as is the DePaul way on this map, and they're pushing all the way up into the porch area. Alter misses that shot. DePaul is just kind of hanging out right now.
Oh my god, Miggs. Miggs is always doing so much work. The spray downs from this player are just non-stop. And that is a hard stop there for DePaul. They cannot make their way beyond the patio. Their aggression will find no success. continuously, they are attempting to just brute force their way onto a site, and it's not working.
Yeah, the aggression is working really well when they're getting those early picks and able to exploit the kind of multiple direction attack. But when Marquette has an opportunity to turtle down a little bit, as we saw them doing there, just running into their crosshairs is a gift to them. It's like Christmas, and Mig's making the best of that alongside Remy. Is going to bring this within one now for Marquette. So DePaul still has work to do. They still have some rounds to make up with the economy here, but they're going to do the best they can with the Deagles. And Migs just being a little over aggressive is going to give his head up to the DePaul side. And now is still a ways off from victory, but that's still gonna hurt a little bit. And those missed mollies from Alter, just a little bit of a misclick there, gonna give a little bit more opportunity for the side of DePaul to peek up and be a little bit more aggressive in their search for information. They know that Alter is there. They're gonna pick up that Deagle. They're gonna go for that second. They know that it's just an op. Squaw able to take him down, looking towards that Alter, is not finding anything. They're gonna wrap around to that A site, and they're looking for that last player. They find a little pit. And now it's just Remy versus the world trying to keep them alive. But really, he's buying time for his teammates to show up before Stacky finally comes over and takes off his head. So DePaul, with a great positioning in their post plant, is going to be up against Mandalore and Just Rich, both coming from the B site through CT spawn. It looks like they're setting up for those exits, but seeming to think better of it, Mandalore is heading back to the B site. The call comes out to Just Rich, and so they're going to opt to save these two M4A1Ss, and DePaul coming back with a vengeance looked very convincing there.
It's seeming like DePaul is just better on eco.
That might be the case. Maybe that's the key. I know we joke about it sometimes, but you're making a great point. In the latter half of the first part of this map, just so far they're having trouble finding that purchase in the rounds where they purchase guns. Those ecos are going real good.
Because they just won that one a few rounds ago, where they had the wraparound to go back to B site, where they took a few down with them. That was their best round in a good while, as Marquette was able to climb their way back up. Now that we got a bye coming out from DePaul, can they actually execute? Can they make the play they need to move forward? I mean, it will be blocked off. Like 3 mollies, I think, are coming out from here.
Just a few.
So they have to slow it down, as you'd expect. And no real information gained. I mean, Marquette does realize there's a ton of utility coming out from Banana, so they might have 1 or 2 players, but the commitment has not been given signal. There's no telegraph. A nice shot out of both Saki and a Demigod. A great way to start things off. The site is wide open, but they need to recover the bomb because it's all the way back by T. Alter shooting through the smoke, hoping for something to work with, but they can't find anything. And Breezy ensuring the backline is A-okay. There will be no flank, and it's already a call for a save.
It's amazing how many rounds of this, the battle of these two teams has really come down to just one misplay or one opening frag, just creating an absolute torrential waterfall of opportunity to take the site and to hold it. And like you pointed out, they had to go all the way back to spawn in order to get that bomb after taking the site. But DePaul already set up for that defense of B. Did a really great job of dissuading any CTs from making any real efforts to try to take it. And now you can see they're already on the hunt trying to take out the last 2 rifles on the side of Marquette. But they will likely be fine as they are heading all the way back in T apps. So they're probably, hopefully for them, gonna walk away with this and be okay. But Marquette, after pulling a couple rounds together, is back where they were. Alter just a little over aggressive, or well, a little unfortunate, not really aggressive. They were turtling the best they could, but not a bad round for DePaul there. And Marquette still down, has just 2 rounds left to make the best out of this half.
Yeah, currently down bad, no money, a few Deagles out there. We got some Deagle demons in the server. I think it was made clear back on Ancient.
Absolutely.
So it is possible they could find value out of that. Maybe Marquette is solid on the eco, and that's how they could turn this thing around, at least for the last 2 rounds of this first half. But now it's starting off with Saki. They see through the crack of the doorway. It's an easy first opening frag.
Seems like Marquette's kind of learned the lesson about the aggression being punished when DePaul has weapons. So no presence in Banana whatsoever, opting to play from sight in that connector position. But on the side of A, Mig's able to take out Chris, but Squaw immediately answers to take out Alter. So now there's just a little bit of a ring around the rosy with the Marquette players trying to find something. But Saki holding the angle takes out Migs. And now the two Marquette players, excuse me, that are left just have Deagles and not a lot of hope for what might come.
Potential shot once this smoke fades. However, if they keep holding this angle, Breezy will lose out on it. Wait, no, right as the player moves up into apartments, Just Rich continues. They play their life and they get another frag. But even if they can hold on to that deagle, they still won't win the round. DePaul, 5-9. Currently, walking away with this first half, and it's not what you'd expect here on Inferno. But really, if the economy isn't going as strong as you'd hope, CT side can be difficult.
Hugely. You get lost
Look at all those Ds.
You get lost in that quagmire of, forced ecos or forced buys with not a lot of utility left, especially on the CT side. It's just so critical to winning this map. And Marquette have just consistently been in a difficult position where they, are trying to answer DePaul's aggression or their efforts there. Gua able to take Remy around the corner, trading for Saki, getting a little bit of revenge on Saki, and we find ourselves back in a 4v4. Marquette still opting for a generally conservative approach to that, although we do see Migs pushed up a little bit deeper on that flower pot boost in the side, on the porch side. So trying to get something out of it, but you can see DePaul's being a little bit hesitant. Alter holding the aggressive angle is going to take out Squaw. DePaul thinking about B and wondering how many people are still over on that site. Seems like Mandalore might have a similar thought process, and you see him running back towards that B site. You're probably going to hear the footsteps running up Banana. So now they just have to deal with Just Rich, and they can take this out. This could be another round going to DePaul.
Breezy with another. No problems here as they continue to take on B site. Bomb goes down. The other side of Fountain. This is a simple post plant setup, but we have two players. Or maybe just Mandalore. No, two who will make their way, even three, over by construction. It all depends on the first contact coming out from construction. If this op is good, they spotted the elbow and is one to the chest. Another one over at Alter. Make it three. You know exactly who's coming around that corner. One to the dome. Chris with the 3K on the op solidifies a 10-5 T-side on Inferno.
Not a scoreline you see as often as maybe on some other maps, but DePaul doing an excellent job to earn that scoreline. Good mix of aggression and, slow, methodical defaults, keeping, a great amount of time on it and just keeping Marquette from getting into that position of being able to bully them the way that they really like to do on this map. So DePaul is going to start off from a great position, which just means that Marquette absolutely needs to win this first round just to keep this game from running away from them.
Oh, great shot from Saki there. So it's not a great start that you're hoping for if you're Marquette. So, all right, as you say that, a little bit of unfortunate timing. Now they will posture themselves back over to Banana. What would the move be? They're rushing it down. You have Chris is hanging behind New Box. They're waiting. They hear it. They can hear the movement, but no one is expecting someone back there. Migs starts it off. Migs goes for a second one, and they get the job done. The plant will be put into play by the Coffins. Retake, all three players making their way from... Oof. Oh my god, Mandalore. What a shot.
It's just a tense standoff around each corner to see what happens.
Okay, here's the response. Squaw. Another one to their name. Make it a second. And now there's only two more. Wait, can they get it done? They do! Oh my god, Squaw with the 4K to close it out. I think, yes, they've got enough time. Wow, what a retake.
Quad just earning his dollars. Wow, that was amazing. That for a pistol round, just tippity tap round it, able to take out 4 players and just turn what seemed to be a sure win for Marquette into a devastating loss. And that is the exact opposite of what Marquette needed to come back into. That they still have the opportunity. You can see that they feel similarly about how important getting each of these rounds are with a couple upgraded pistols. They're going to be a little bit more aggressive. You see them moving up in that banana position, trying to make something out of it. We'll see if they get to it. Mandalore having to run right through that flame ultimately falls to a demigod, and those nades are just raining down through banana. So Marquette in a bit of a rough spot with not a lot of equipment to do much, to do a lot of damage coming into the rest of this round.
Players here, the lone defenders of B. It will be a slow play. They might have heard those jumps from Remy, and certainly with that gun dropping, have to upgrade to that Tech 9. But no one is budging on the side of DePaul. No one wants to peek, because they realize they are in the advantage right now. They don't have to do anything. The onus is on the side of Marquette. Here's a flashbang, and it's actually forcing out Marquette to make the move, but they only find themselves moving back to the spawn because this round is all over. Unless Alter does win the fight out against Saki, but what else do you got? Oh, running out, both of the players have their knife out.
A little bit of an extra love tap there between friends.
Or enemies, as I don't think there's any friends at this server.
Fierce competition begets an interesting expression every so often, and Marquette, feeling the pressure right now, takes a time out, and I don't know. What do you think their solution is here, Los?
Maybe go faster. I don't know.
Pedal to the metal, baby. Just do whatever. I mean, that's a totally fair assessment. I think that they had an opportunity in the last round to do that. You saw Mandalore came through and tried to do that, but they took a ton of molly damage and ultimately lost to the player at sandbags, and there just wasn't anybody there for the refrag. So maybe a little bit more of that is a good opportunity, but we've also seen that DePaul is pretty good on that nade timing, and they do have quite a few nades as we can look at their inventories right now, and those loadouts look pretty dangerous for those choke points, but haven't seen a lot of movement towards A. Obviously, we're only a couple rounds into this half, so lots of opportunities to change things up. Personally, I'd like to see a little bit of that A aggression, see what they can do there, but DePaul kind of going back to that very conservative play, not interested in giving up any rounds, protecting the fact that they are up by 7 currently and just trying to close this out as fast as they can. And if they do so and keep Marquette at this level, they will actually win the best of 2.
Ooh, some good shots to start things off. Migs does fire back, but a lot of damage both within players and serious health have been put against Marquette. But Just Rich is evening the odds at this point. With a forward play to A, their options are open, but they will decide to bring the bomb over there. They will encounter Breezy. That is an easily won battle. The real challenge is going to come from realizing that Squaw is up in apartments. They're going to hear the sound cue that the bomb is being planted. There it is. There's the spot, but can they get the shot? They do, but Remy is there for the trade out. They're in close enough, but it doesn't matter. Marquette have won it out. It's such a scattered, sporadic battle. They came back. Now down only 6. A little bit better than before, but they still have a long way to go.
They certainly do. And at least they are in a great position. Well, I shouldn't say a great position. They're in a better position on the economy. They are able to come out with a pretty good nade setup across the board, except for Alter, and a bunch of people down to $0. So this is a make or break round for Marquette at this point. Really got to make something out of this. And Mandalore just taking so much damage from that deep molly, finally gets a smoke down. Boy, that's not how they want to. That's not the foot that they want to start this round off on. I like the patience from both teams, just kind of waiting each other out to see what happens. Marquette continuing to play in that default. Alter going to find Squaw on those apartment stairs. Seeing a lot of movement from both teams, but not a full commit yet. Marquette going up that arch side, Remy is going to take out Saki, who traded out Mandalore. Remy holding for Chris on the rotation, and suddenly DePaul are down to just 2 players with a P250 and an M4. Breezy wildly shooting, trying to get something, but really just hits the post. And ain't that the story of the losing team's life here? So Marquette taking a decisive victory and going to put the 7th round up on the board for them, while DePaul got to think a little bit harder about what they want to do, because they have very little money, no loss bonus, and quite a bit of green light or blue light, skylight, whatever the phrase is, before they actually get to victory. So while they do have a comfortable lead now, they certainly cannot become complacent, because if they do, they're going to find themselves down pretty shortly as this gap continues to narrow 1 round at a time.
Down bad currently. If this trend continues, on their way to be down horrendous. But they still have plenty of time to get their plans together. This is going to be another save. They don't really have the capacities to make this work out for them. But if they all want to send it down mid, and it starts off with HE, maybe this could soften them up a bit to allow USB headshots. Remy gets 2, Remy gets 3, and it's helped by Mandalore. And it ends exactly how you'd expect, a slaughter for Marquette.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they want to keep doing. Build that confidence. Don't lose any players when you don't have to. Try to do whatever you can to hang on to whatever economic advantage you can build. Marquette obviously in a really great position now. Is comfortable in terms of the funds that they've saved up, and with an 8th round on the board, they've got to feel certainly a lot better than they have for the majority of this game. It's still 8-12, but coming around, and they're getting into that aggressive position. Rummy running directly through the smoke and getting a kill for it, but Squad and Saki able to trade it out. So it's a 2-for-2 trade. Migs makes it a 3rd, and now Marquette is on the bomb site, taking pretty heavy damage for the players that are still there, but the bomb will go down, and Chris and a Demigod, it's up to them to take this site back.
Flame doesn't provide too much damage, but now here comes the second one out of Mandalore, and they have to back off. A Demigod burns to a crisp, and it forces Chris to run away. They don't have anything to work with. It's another save. Marquette, they're clawing their way back. This is looking like a comeback, Viking.
Those mollies do some insane amount of lifting occasionally, and that certainly was the case there. I think Chris and a Demigod had every chance, or every right to think they had a chance, at least, in going into that position. So Chris able to get 2 at the end there. Going to be a little bit of a consolation prize, as Just Rich and Chris are going to be the ones to survive from their respective teams. But Marquette, like you said, clawing back in. We saw a little bit on Ancient, where DePaul, strung together some good rounds, and Marquette really looked like they had lost their footing. But once they get that back under them, and you see those gears start to turn and their star players, it can be incredibly dangerous, and that could be what's happening here.
Ooh, bit of a miss of the smoke. Just Rich follows it up with a flash. They won't have a good shot. And take a look at the map. It's all a Demigod. The lone defender, the lone CT over on B, but now things might start to work out in the favor of DePaul. The lurker on A is dead. They have an option to grab. Wait a minute. Saki came in for some help over by Coffins. The 1D makes things a little bit easier. There's a rotation out. There's a gap in the smoke. The bomb is down. They can't get it planted. Not yet. And it's out of their reach. They have to re-smoke it. And go in for another swing. But maybe Mandalore takes some damage. No. They can survive it out. But with a boost onto the flower pot, it's Chris. They clutch it out. They get 2 more. And through the eco is how DePaul wins.
You called it, right? They just keep ecoing, I guess, and they'll get it for sure. That was a round that, I mean, no round is ever guaranteed, but Marquette certainly had every reason to think that they should have had a better outcome than what was there. But DePaul, like you said, some really incredible Ds, just, the minor gaps in the smoke creating just absolute havoc on the side of Marquette as they try to cross into sight. And man, this is not looking so not so bright and cheery for the side of Marquette right now.
Slowing it down for sure. I'll have to wait a little while. No need to get too antsy after that victory. No need to get too antsy after that loss. If you're Marquette, you may want to think twice. You may want to sweat him out a bit. Certainly if you're DePaul, send out some utility, block off the vision, block off the chances of a rush.
You can see the impact of last round and what that has really done to the Marquette psyche. They're being incredibly slow and methodical about every inch that they're pushing down. You do see them continuing to probe a little bit towards Banana and get something there, and the DePaul players moving out of that position. And now will they find the player at Sandbags? No, that flash from the teammate comes in, and a Demigod able to pick up 2. They'll trade out for Chris, but the damage is done,
A
and a
Demigod
picking up 3rd. This is the nightmare for Marquette. They had every reason to think that they could find that one player on Sandbag and just come through, but a Demigod with that team flash just does an amazing work, and Breezy trying to just close it out. And Alter, despite having a great opportunity for a flank, just walks directly into those crosshairs, and now it's just Remy left, but Squaw is still waiting on site. Remy just has no indication that he's going to be sitting up there on that balcony, and they clean it off. So DePaul at the 14th round, they could close this in 2.
Yeah, and of course, here comes the Marquette timeout. Rightfully so. They've been losing their grip on these last couple of rounds, and now they aren't in the best position in terms of buying. 2 players have 0 cash. They might be able to throw on some full armor, maybe some utility as well, but there isn't anything else coming out from them. They might be able to get like a Mac 10 or something, maybe a teammate can buy for them, but overall, it's looking very weak in terms of their weapon capabilities going into round 24. And this is a crucial moment. Do you save and try and play for the next 6 rounds to go in your favor, or do you go all out? And it seems they've made their choice. It's time to go all out here and now. Don't let DePaul get that comfort zone of being on match point.
It is worth noting that they're playing for 2 win objectives here right now. Obviously, they want to win the map. They want to take it 2-0 as they continue the momentum from Ancient. But if Marquette is able to get up to a 12th round, that means that they will actually have won the best of 2. Again, we're talking about the round differential and the best of 2 format. So if they're able to put 3 more rounds on the board, they will at least win the map the series for today. But DePaul obviously not looking to make that happen, and they certainly have every reason to believe that they've got the momentum of the game on their side, being up 14-9.
Oh, wow. Breezy was not expecting that. They were able to manage off a single 1-tap before they fall down. Remy, hoping to continue that pressure, will have to face off against Squall over in the pit. They'll be playing for their life. They can lock it down as long as they have this angle, which is so difficult to uproot. But now, getting caught with their pants down, Remy does win it out, but they're all alone in a 1v3. They haven't even got the bomb down, and here comes a Demigod to bring it to match point. DePaul University is looking to put Marquette into the grave, and it's seeming to be so, especially with 0 cash.
This is the gamble that you were talking about, right? You either go for it and you do the best that you can to make sure that you get that win and keep that momentum going. But unfortunately, that just wasn't in the cards for Marquette in that last round. And so, as you said, they're forced to just look at Mac 10s, which could force some ingenuity, or it could just turn into an opportunity for DePaul to get a quick and easy round to close out this second map. So far, Marquette opting to go aggressively towards that A site. We see both Remy, Mandalore, and Alter going down, and only Squaw was the cost for it. Breezy just going ham on that op, and all of a sudden, Miggs is the only one left, and this is all but certain for DePaul.
Yeah, I guess Chris was expecting the round to end as he just stopped moving. Yep, and there it is. Breezy has closed it out along with Squaw. They held it down together. Only 2 players needed to put Marquette in the dirt, and it's done. But it's a single map to each. So while no one was able to walk out with the 2-0, it is still a great match nonetheless. But we finally got to see both these teams come together.
Absolutely. And DePaul ultimately taking wins based on the round differential there. So congratulations to them. That is a reversal for the first time they met all the way back in week 6. So now these teams are properly 1v1, or sorry, 1-1 all the way around. So that was an excellent match, and I cannot wait to see what comes up next. So Los, take us out for now.
Okay, well, speaking of coming up next, we still have 2 more series of Counter-Strike tonight, so don't go anywhere, folks. The action does not stop anytime soon here at EGFC. We'll be right back.